I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good morning. Welcome to the January 14th, 2025 council meeting. Our first order of business this morning is reorganization. Do we have a nomination for a president?
I nominate Alan Dunn for president.
Second.
Okay, we have a first from Mike and a second from Jeff. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, motion passes.
Okay.
Congratulations, Alan.
Thank you. We need to also elect a vice president, so I'll open the floor to nominations for vice president.
I would. Go ahead, Mary. You had your hand up.
I nominate Carol Price.
Okay, I have a nomination for Carol. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Do I have any other nominations before we proceed to the vote?
No.
Okay. All those in favor of Carol being vice president, please raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Congratulations.
So,
I tried to raise two, but I know that's it.
not allowed. Yeah. Okay. So now we can proceed with our regular agenda here, and we'll begin with the approval of the meeting minutes. We have two meetings in December, the regular December 10th meeting and the cleanup meeting on December 26th. Let's begin with the December 10th meeting. Jeff, have you had a chance to maybe?
Janet gets to me. She got me this one, I think, the same day, so my memory was really, really clear. So there's no changes. I make a motion that we pass this, approve it.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Jeff and a second by Todd to approve the December 10th. I am going to do these in separate votes because we had some different attendings on those. So all those in favor on the December 10th meeting, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. And then on the December 26th, as I understand, 9-minute record-breaking council meeting on December 26th. Do I have a motion on those?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion by Carol to approve December 26th. Do I have a second? Second by Mary. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 4-0 with Todd and I both abstaining for having been absent that day.
Correct.
Okay. Probation report. Is Nancy with us today? I don't think she is. We did have included in there, we have our new year to add another column for 2025 to the probation spreadsheet that we get each month or for the juvenile detention costs. So we'll start to update that as we go into the new year. That gets us to new business, beginning with the Recorder's Perpetuation Fund Ordinance 2025-01. So we have a new recorder to join us, Kylie Mitchell. Welcome. And it is in our packet here, at least in my packet. Mary, did you see your copy on that?
Did not.
2025-01, did you guys?
That I did review.
Okay, you did get a chance to see it?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I have an extra. So,
Anything you'd like to speak to on this, on your initial appearance before the council?
No, it's the same yearly agreement that we have to do. Indiana code states that since the perpetuation fund has statutory purposes and this is being paid out of the statutory realm, this code 362-7-10.2 requests that we do an ordinance along with the sworn statement. The sworn statement was prepared and presented to you December 10th of 24 by Elizabeth Keeney. And it just requests, and then this, I ask that you can approve and adopt this ordinance drafted by County Attorney Tom Little to request, approve the request of the recorder to pay an identifiable portion of the perpetuation fund towards office expenses, including the first and second deputy salaries and potential overtime.
Okay. That's an excellent summary, and it is something kind of unique in county government. We have both the affidavit and the ordinance for the use of the perpetuation fund dollars. So you have that. It's ordinance number 2025-01, our first one of the year. And
Motion to approve.
motion to approve by Jeff. Do I have a second? Second by Mike. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. So we have that all taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn.
Next up then is the salary ordinance for 2025. And this is where we kind of officially put in place those salaries that we adopted at budget time. And you should have seen, I think you are all on the, I'm not sure if you're all on the email that Cecily sent out about some of the changes to the, did you all see that? Okay. And we're doing that to just simply, a couple of main things here. We're trying to avoid confusion. We've called it historically the salary ordinance, but it's really salary and wages. You know, not everybody is on a true salary. We have some on hourly wage, so we're clarifying that in the title. And then we're listing the hourly wage in the ordinance as opposed to just the total salary of expected work hours versus that hourly wage. So this is a reflection of the hourly wages we adopted at the budget time, and if you go back even further, it's the hourly wages that we used in the salary survey when we came up with the annual amounts. So this is to clarify and hopefully make it much more transparent and easy for department heads to follow along on what exactly the employee in their department is getting paid.
I thought it was great.
Yeah. So, nothing, no changes or anything here. This is just the codification of what we have adopted at budget time. So, unless there's any need for further explanation or question, I think we could just move on to vote. Anybody have any questions or need clarification on any of those changes?
Make a motion to approve.
Very good.
Have a motion by Carol, and a second by Jeff to approve the 2025 salary and wage ordinance. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Okay, Central Dispatch. Got a couple items here. We have a change in an existing position and the 2024 annual report.
Good
Did
morning.
I sign that, Jeff, or did I just?
If you don't mind, I would like to do my report first because that can kind of help lead into the change.
Okay,
of
please
the
do.
position. So, good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to go over our 2024 stats. I hope you got those. I apologize. I got those to Janet late yesterday, and so if you haven't had a chance to review them, if you have any questions when you do go through all of those reports, please, you can obviously reach out to me.
Okay.
But during 2024, we dispatched a total of 34,307 calls for service, and that includes police, fire, and EMS. We did enter a total of 11,388 traffic stops across city and county. That includes our marshals as well, which was actually up 17% from the year before. Our statewide 911 board funds our programming for tracking our total 911 calls and administrative calls. The state had been utilizing a program called ECATS. In April, they changed to a different program called 911 Logics with the Public Safety Network of America. And those, so we've kind of had to use both ECATS, the old system, and the new to come up with our call numbers for 24. So our total 911 calls received was 13,075, and our total administrative calls was 24,661. In those reports, I attached a class of service, which shows the different types of calls. And as everyone knows, hardly anyone has home phones anymore. We're still at about 89% of our total 911 calls come from a cell phone. I also run a report for PSAP answer time, and that shows that 99% of the time, all of our 911 calls are answered in less than 10 seconds. We still utilize the Texty program, so people can text 911 if they have an emergency instead of making those calls. We received a total of 70 texts to 911. We actually utilize it a lot for those 911 hang-up calls from a cell phone to make contact with people. We can initiate those texts, and those that we sent out were 1,044 texts from 911. But it is a good tool for the hearing impaired. Maybe people, they are not in a safe situation and it's not safe for them to make that voice call. So that is a great option for people to be able to utilize. We still use our Nixle. We send those out faithfully. Of course, we've been getting a lot of weather issues, but we still have several thousand people that subscribe to our Nixle. And again, we still encourage people to download the Everbridge app instead of receiving the text or the email. That actually you will get all of those notices. Nixle, I think I'd reported like the last couple years, Nixle decided people didn't like the overload of texts. So unless it is like a true warning, a lot of the texts do not go out. So we encourage people to download the app, the Everbridge app. It's a free app, and they will get all of the notices that we send out. 23, last year, we kept hearing about the eclipse nonstop. And throughout 23 and into preparation of 24, on April 8th of 24, it was clear that we needed to have something in place, just in case. And we had never actually had an official communications plan. It gave me a great opportunity to write that communications plan so that in the event that we had something the day of the eclipse, we knew what we needed to do, and everybody else, all of our public safety responders, knew how we would handle those things. So we kind of had I wrote two communications plans, one for that day, and then one for a general, for any, whether it could be a tornado or anything, that we would have a disaster where we would need to start utilizing that communications plan. I invited every public safety agency to a meeting so that we could go over that. All of their department heads left with that plan so that they will all have that information, so they will know how we will conduct anything during an event. So 2024 for us was a year of change and growth. We started out with filling the assistant director's position with Chris Guajardo. Chris has stepped into the role and really grown over the last year. He really is my missing piece that I've needed. You know, when you do something for so long, you kind of get stale and things, and you need some fresh ideas. And he and I are a great partnership that I'm so thankful for. And he's been a great asset to our department moving forward this last year. So the first key, we had lots of goals last year. So the first thing was revamping our training program and our new hire process. So Chris has also put together a 2-week classroom. So any new hire this past year, they have a 2-week actual classroom. Gives them a great opportunity to practice things. A great overview of what is dispatching, even though they've gone through the hiring process. But once you get in there, you really don't know what to expect, and from listening to calls, we utilize my office that has the radio in there. We do practice. Chris will do practice radio traffic with them, whether it's traffic stops, them getting to do all of these things, practicing adding calls, listening to 911 calls and administrative calls in a quiet environment so that we can discuss those things with them, and it just helps prepare them before they go to the floor with their trainer. And we really have seen a success with this, and I think it's going to continue to assist us in preparing them for that career in dispatch, and just gives them a good foundation before they start their months of training.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
So the second task was our 2024 remodel that the council assisted, when it was time to start doing budgeting and things like that. We really we had a lot of our things in place going into the 2024 budget, but I kind of wanted to put the brakes on. We wanted to make sure we did it right. I think when we built Central Dispatch, we did it right. And it's taken us many years and, taken us forward. And I want that to continue beyond even my time. And I think we did a great job in making sure that we have everything we need to continue our growth. In the spring, with the assistance of the county grant writer, Chris and I teamed up with her, and we applied for a first grant, something we had never, ever done. And we received that grant to the tune of $86,798. So we are excited about that. We will be purchasing portable radios and 2 additional laptops. Look, let's face it, we could have an issue where the tower is down or we have to evacuate our building. The tornado in the Colfax area a couple years ago was a good example. We were struggling with communications. We might have to go to the field to be able to communicate, and we hope we never do, but we want to be prepared for that. Or if we have to go to the police department to our backup. So we want to have additional resources available. So we will be utilizing that money for those things with that grant. Finally, in late summer, we invested in the Frontline Public Safety Solutions. Frontline offers innovative software solutions to help enhance our operations and improve our efficiency. The programs we're currently using is the Frontline Training Tracker, our DOR Tracker, which we utilize with our trainees and the trainers, and then our QA Tracker. Chris takes care of doing our quality assurance, and that is listening back and reviewing those 911 calls to make sure we are doing everything we need to do in those calls. The training tracker allows us to train all of our or to track all of our training that we do. And part of that, from the Senate Bill 158 that was enacted a couple years ago, we are required to maintain training and certain training hours. And this takes us from using an Excel spreadsheet to lots of paper that, eventually you're going to run out of room storing all of those things. This program has really taken us forward, streamlined things. So we are very excited to have that in place. So as usual, I'm very thankful. Last year was a rough year. I mean, if you look back at the overtime amount, I really do think that was probably the most we have ever had in overtime, just due to shortages. But we really are on a great path.
Okay.
The ones that we've hired this past year. So we have 3 more to hire, to take us to our 20. But as you know, it's months of training. And our people are nonstop training. But we are in a much better place than what we were last year going into this year. But I'm thankful for those because, again, like you hear me say every year, this job is not for everyone. Not at all. And it takes special people, and I couldn't be more proud of the people that we have moving forward. And going into 25 this year is all about growth for us, not only personal growth, but growth as a department and individuals, and what we can do better for ourselves and our community and serving all those public safety agencies.
Great. It says you have a position change that you wanted
I
to
do have.
get us.
Yes,
up to
so
speed on.
moving it, so we have 4 shifts, and each shift has always had a supervisor. And a few years ago, we had added duties to one of the supervisors as training coordinator, and she kind of helped manage the training, all of the documents and all of the things, and kind of helped manage that. And this past year, now that Chris has come into his position, and then that we have gone with the Frontline Solutions, we really don't need those additional duties on the supervisor. So we've just taken those away as a reorganization because Chris and I can handle those now that we have this Frontline program. So we met with her. This has been approved by the commissioners at the last meeting as well. So nothing really has changed. She still has the supervisor role. She just will no longer have the training coordinator. When we had added those, we did create a separate line. So it said shift supervisor, training coordinator. So the transfer that I have submitted is taking the salary of just the shift supervisor out of that line and transferring it back to with the other 3. So we will have the total of the 4 shift supervisors.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, yes.
Okay, any questions for Renee?
Great job.
Yeah.
Thanks. Always enjoy numbers. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
I would just like to say to Renee, I really appreciate all the work you did in 2024. It was a big task for 2024.
It was.
And I enjoyed my tour of your area during the open house. And if you are a council member and haven't been down there, it's wonderful to see. They've done a great job, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Highway Department, Rick Campbell. You're on our list. You look surprised. Change in position in the Highway Department.
Two employees are gonna bump up from truck driver to operator. They run the boom mowers, and they can also do other jobs. And so we wanted to move them up. It helped us in the springtime when the gravel roads thaw out and they need to drag out there and somebody takes off or something. We can also put him on a grader. So,
Okay, and then I guess was that a transfer in here? I don't remember. Okay. Okay, so then there's our explanation for that transfer when we get to that later in the program. Okay, pretty simple explanation. I appreciate it. Okay. Thank you, Rick.
thank you.
Do we need to do anything about this?
Well, it's in the transfers. that. Okay, so that completes the new business. We'll move on to old business, beginning with the slate of additional appropriations for January. Now, most of these are appropriations that resulted from our discussions at budget time that we ended up with an expenditure that wasn't advertised either in an amount that was enough to cover the full expenditure or was moved to a different fund where it wasn't originally advertised. So several of these are just cleanups from that budget process. The first one, however, is not one of those and involves the surveyor. So Dan, I know sometimes watches, and if he'd like to come down and speak with us, we can. But it's a $327.06 expenditure for vehicle maintenance. It's actually related to a 2024 expense. So we either need to handle this as an encumbrance reaching back to the 2024 budget, or can just be spent out of the 2025 budget appropriation, but it would be appropriate to deny this as an additional appropriation. I don't think that's the way that we want to handle this in discussing with Britt. So I don't know whether we should do that as a one-off or handle that at the end for the ordinance with the one change to it. I probably ought to handle it as a one-off.
Okay.
But let's go through them all, and then we'll come back to that in case Dan would happen to want to come down. Next one, general fund, in the jail meals for prisoners, we got a DOC reimbursement for $1,339.98 that we're appropriating back to that line. And then we have a series of salary adjustments where after we did the 3% raises through the salary survey, we were a little bit short on the advertised amount, so we're making those adjustments now. $1,594.50 for the EMS director. Well, I'm sorry, this is all in the EMS budget. So then the next one is $278,011 for the ambulance that was for the EMS budget. This is the ambulance that we're buying in partnership with Center Township, that they're going to reimburse us over time. But we are going to pay the initial amount, $278,011 from the lit public safety. Salary adjustment, jail commander in the lit correctional facility budget, $877 for that position. This is for, you remember our EMS budget is split between two budgets, so here's the other half of the EMS director salary adjustment, $1,594.50, so that matches the earlier one, so it divides it between the two budgets. Sheriff's Gifts Funds, $100 from donations to JCAP, a JCAP donation. Brett Barton, in some of his recent updates to us, has updated the change that we've had in the drug testing program. This is the appropriation of $75,000 that will go to AverHealth drug testing to cover the new program, the new entity that we're going to do the drug testing through. So that's his appropriation for 2025 to cover that program from his project income fund. Federal inmate fund, $39,000. This was the adjustment to the pension line item that we did to cover the employee salaries, the deputy salaries that come out of the federal inmate fund. This would cover the pension portion of those salaries. And that is all the additional appropriation. So that is just going to try to find that ordinance number here.
03.
2025-03 already. We're at a 3 already. Anybody have any questions or comments about any of those? So before we do the ordinance, let's vote. I'd like to vote to deny the request on the surveyor's request from the general fund, the initial one, which was, I'll get back to that number, 327.06. We'll handle that either through an encumbrance or through the 2025 budget. Do I have a motion on that? Motion to deny from Jeff. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. So all those in favor of that denial, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Now that brings us back to ordinance 2025-03 with that amended reduction included.
Is it,
So it'd be,
it's 1339.
well, it'd be this number
This year.
less, less
right,
the
yeah.
three that we just did.
Right.
Yes, correct. deal with, yeah, what was that remaining number there?
1339.98.
Yeah.
Yep. Motion to approve, ordinance 25-03.
Okay, so I have that motion to approve our first additional appropriation. Second by Todd. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. We do have a handful of transfers, including the one that Renee just spoke to. Beginning in Circuit Court, this is the wraparound program that Judge Moeller always speaks to, and we transfer from our county match, $9,244 from wraparound to cover that remaining part of the CASA employee salary. This is our portion of the match. And then here, the next one, the statewide 911 fund, and this is the shift supervisor training coordinator position that Renee just spoke to, transferring it from that training coordinator just to the shift supervisor line, the $57,990.40. And then also in dispatch, $2,988.36 from the dispatcher line item to cover the Motorola maintenance fee that we did not include in the budget. It was an oversight, get that all line fulfilled there. And then the last one, Britt, if you wouldn't mind explaining to the full council what you explained to me in regard to the Wildcat transfers that are in the packet there.
So, Wildcat has hired a different full-time employee, so we needed to add more money to our health line. So in order to pay the extra for the invoice for December, I went ahead and did a transfer so that we could end the year with nothing in the negative. So that is taken care of.
But this was more of an FYI, I guess.
It is.
Yeah, because it's already been executed.
It has.
Yeah. So, okay, and that's the last of the transfers that required our approval. Anybody have any questions on any of those? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Okay, a motion by Jeff to approve the transfers. Do I have a second? Second by Mary. All of those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. We also received in our packet the financial report and the budget status report. Obviously, the budget status report is brand new. We don't have much of a year to report changes this early in the year, but the financial report gives all of the, essentially, I mean, you can consider that to be the beginning balance of all of the different funds for the year 2025.
This
And
is
so-
actually December.
Oh, it's
You're seeing
December.
the end of the year.
Okay, very good, very good. End of year balances for all of the various funds. So you might want to keep that one, stick it in a file somewhere. It's a nice resource to have to look back year over year. But we'll, as always, I try to get in the minutes a motion that we've received those reports from the auditor.
They have been received.
So I'm going to take that as a
Yes,
motion or
yes, yes, I'm sorry,
something
yes,
to vote
yeah.
on there. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Second by Mike. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. And I do appreciate that so much, Brett. I look at those all the time. I keep them, and it's nice to sometimes kind of figure out how much we've spent by a quarter by going back and looking at previous versions. Okay, council reports. Anybody since our December gathering have anything that they've done, want to share with the rest of the council?
I have a couple things, of course.
Okay. Please do.
First of all, I wanted to share that I went to the First Lady's breakfast and the inauguration of our new governor.
Oh,
And that was an interesting day.
Yeah.
Very interesting day. And I wanted to also share some news about the county mental health clinic situation. There has been a delay in the process because another mental health service provider has put in they're contesting the Jane Pauley Clinic because they want to be our provider. Now, this is a provider that I have lots of documentation from the county schools that no one wants them here.
okay.
So I believe Bert has talked to them, and Bert feels like he discouraged them enough that they may pull their request back, but they haven't as of yet. So we're hoping that they do. And then we did receive another mental health service provider is also interested in being our provider. So word is out that there may be another opportunity. So, but I spoke with Jerry Landers at Jane Pauley, and we have to clear this issue of this entity contesting the transfer before anything can move on. So I'm going to see if I can find out some people who are part of this provider and see if we can have some more influence on them withdrawing.
Is there a statutory process for how this happens?
Yes.
So this third provider, that you mentioned, how does that?
Well, they could do this.
Are they too late to the game, or do
No,
they?
they could do the same thing. They could tell DMHA that they are interested as well and contest it, just like the first one did. So,
And so contesting it would have the what net effect? Just that we would have to look at them. It's not that we would be prevented from selecting Jane Pauley, but
as
we'd
I
have-
understand that, yes, that would be the case.
I
My
like
understanding is,
that.
Alan, either one, for anybody can contest and say that they want to have an opportunity to come in here. Like she said, the one company who I've not even heard of since we've been here, they wrote a thing saying that they're already servicing this community. Well, they are, but very poorly. You know, their bricks and mortars aren't kept, they don't have as many programs. Our community and Jane Pauley and a couple other providers are all pooling together to where that operation, they want to either build a place here or they want to move into a place here and offer other services, which is exactly what we need. We really don't need the company that's actually taking care of the school right now.
And they've
Their
actually
boss claims-
quit taking care of the school.
Their boss claims that they have about 250 clients here in Clinton County, but everybody that I spoke with is very upset about it. They don't like them, they drop appointments, they don't show up for time, et cetera. So we've already written actually 2 letters of support for the Jane Pauley situation. And I think that in speaking to the president of the gentleman that wants to come here that's made the complaint or made the bid, I think they're going to pull out. They realize that we're further down the road and other things that they can't compete with. And I explained to them, we're going to write another letter of support, and, you know, we expect the state to honor that request.
Well, it'd be nice if we could get that done early in the year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
We're
you
trying.
know, it's something that needs to be done quickly, but as you know, even if they decide today, you know, it'll take them 6 months to get in, especially if they're gonna build, you know, it'll take them a year to get here, so,
I did talk
we're
to.
working on it as best we can. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I did talk to Jerry about the building that Community Howard used, the rural building, and he just said, we can't do anything until this gets cleaned up.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we're kind of stuck on that. And so Bert and I are both keep working on that. Community Corrections, I wanted to just give, since I'm on that board at your request, I wanted to share with you that I have visited their offices and their staff and spend some time with them to figure out what's happening. It takes a while to understand that whole process and where their money comes from and all that kind of stuff. So I've been doing that and attended their first board meeting. And I will tell you that, you know, I think Brett reported here that they were looking at the old police station
Yes.
as a place to move to, and I believe that is off the table. It's way too expensive.
It was $5 million estimate
yes,
for the
yes,
renovation
yes.
costs.
So they're looking for other possibilities. So that's my report.
Okay, thank you. I'll add one thing here real briefly. I had reported earlier, probably October or November, about some ongoing discussions that Commissioner Brewer and I have had with the city and some things, just discussions we've had to formalize through an interlocal agreement, some things going with the PIT budget, you know, funding the PIT budget, and then also future economic development growth strategy at the interchange. And we've got a couple, I'd hope to have them for today, but the attorneys are getting final drafts of a couple of interlocal agreements that I'll have for your consideration in February, or that we'll be presenting for both commissioners and council to review, so.
I've heard about those coming.
Yeah, and it's
Good.
been really a really great, really great
exciting.
process working with the city. They've been great to work with, and we've made a lot of progress, so have some things more formally next month.
Very good.
Okay, Commissioner reports. So first of all, welcome to Commissioner Myers for your first official meeting sitting in that role. So we've got two commissioners in the room. Anything else beyond maybe what you've already spoken to, Bert or Kevin, that you'd like to add? Okay, not yet, right. You come back and we get winter weather, so, yeah, just like old days. Okay, with nothing there, then we'll move on to department head reports. Any department heads that need time with the council? Stephen, EMS. Good morning.
Good morning. First, I'll just share, we are in the capstone phase of our first paramedic cohort. And so today, actually, I'm precepting one of our paramedic students. She'll be graduating here at the end of March and joining us. She's got a 2-year contract that was signed a few weeks ago with the commissioners. And so we look forward to having Megan and soon to be Christian join us. So I just wanted to share at the end of, as of December 31st for 24, our EMS transfer revenue was $1.516 million. It was $280,000 more than 2023 as of 12/7. So we've made significant growth there and continue to expect that this year. Overall total revenue was 1.575 between the EMT and paramedic program. So we hopefully we'll see 1.6, 1.7 in 25. I think it's attainable. So, and then two more things real fast. The iStats we purchased a couple years ago with the special distribution. I presented to you guys this case that we had where this patient was critically ill, and there was a lab value that, had we known it, it would have changed how we treated it and possibly changed the outcome. Probably not, but had the potential. We had a very similar case December 31st, and we got that lab value. It changed our care, and it resulted in a change in his clinical outcome. So I just want to say thank you for investing in the community. That resource has been instrumental. So thank you.
Good. It's always good to hear.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah. And then the final thing that I will, it's a request. I messaged you about this. We have a full-time paramedic. Josh is his name. He'll be joining us April 1. He has to finish a commitment with his other agency first. What I would like to do, he's trying to work with us so he can hit the ground running come April 1, and he would like to start doing his third ride shifts where he is, he rides out with the supervisor and starts to learn our system. He would like to complete that between now and April 1, but he can't do it full time. Well, with the budget proposal, we cut the paramedic part-time line item to 0. So I would like to do a transfer here in February and just move that funding so that we can work with him as he's trying to work with us. So
Moving it from which line item?
the paramedic full-time line item,
okay.
and we'll just pay him that rate, but he won't receive the benefits until he's full-time with us in April. So ultimately, I think it'll cut our orientation by 2 months. So instead of us looking at June for all trucks being fully staffed, it'll be April 1. So
And I don't think that would require any approval on our part because it'd be an 01 to an 01, correct?
You need to approve O1s.
We do need to approve it?
Their salary, yes.
Okay. So that'd be officially approved in February then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Great.
Stephen, that he would be working his normal job, his old job, and then coming here and working a third shift? Is that kind of what he would be doing?
He's currently where he's currently employed. He works 3/12s there a week, and so on his off days, he would come and do a 24-hour shift or a 12-hour shift with us.
Okay.
So he's trying to squeeze it in so we can meet our needs, he can meet his needs, and fulfill his contractual requirement, or obligation.
Yeah.
Is our February meeting soon enough for that approval?
Yeah, it will be. So he's looking to meet with me at the end of January, and then for us to schedule out dates after that. So, yep. So
Okay, very good.
that's all I have. Do you guys have anything for me?
Questions for Stephen?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I think I saw the sheriff. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, 2025. Quite a few things that I'll let Matron Ashley address the financials, and we have our commissary, our semi-annual, or our final one for 24 as well. So we'll cover a few of those things. I've talked with Brett Barton in regards to misdemeanor fund, and I think in 19 we did a vehicle purchase, and I'll get with commissioners, but we have to replace a minivan. I think it's a 2012. I think, it's one of those things where we've had to weld the door back on. We've had to, it's really become to the point where we really can't take it out of the area, just due to the fact that I think it's approaching 350,000 miles on the vehicle. So it's time to replace that for our transport folks. So that's something that I look forward to, working with the commissioners, and we'll get something taken care of on that end of it. Maintenance wise, we're back into the bills where we have had duct work that has failed. Some of it is rotted out, and things like that. We have a quote coming in, and I've shared it with the commissioners in regards to that. So we'll have some, the typical bills of maintenance and upkeep coming. Electrical, I'm still kind of waiting on a final number on the electrical. A lot of two of the companies, they really wouldn't even commit to the labor cost of it because of how extensive it's going to be. So that's probably one of the big projects for this year. Is we're going to try and get at minimum get that started on the electrical at the sheriff's office, because we've had so many issues. So, and obviously the electrical affects dispatch, and it affects everything else inside that facility. So for the safety of it, I think it's something that we have to take on, and it's an extreme price. So with that, I'll let Ms. Matron here take care of the financials, and we'll get the report turned into Council President.
Okay.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Okay, I'm presenting to you the semi-annual commissary report. That's July to December of 2024. Total deposits were $328,033.72. Total expenditures, $252,844.04. That brings our annual totals of deposits to $636,393.88, with expenditures totaling $488,193.42. So if you would just acknowledge the submittal of that report.
The report has been received.
Thank you.
Every year, I take an opportunity to tell you what we saved on the medical realm in the jail, our inmate medical billing. This year, we saw $818,440.58 in medical bills. Of that, because we reprice it per Indiana statute to the Medicare rate plus 4%, we saved $776,670.92. That's just shy of a 95% savings. So only $10,294.03 was returned to the county for payment.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
The rest of it, it's the DOC reimbursements that I submit. It's the United States Marshal Service that we submit to them, level 6 felons, things of that nature. I do want to give a little shout out. We were talking about mental health this morning. Our mental health provider within the jail through Quality Correctional Care, it's their nonprofit, 360 Healthcare Alliance. We did 36 graduates of our MRT program last year, and we have seen 100% success rate. There's been zero recidivism from those 36 graduates from 2024, so we're pretty proud of that. We had 11 JCAP graduates. We just graduated our 5th class this past Sunday of our highest class, our largest class rather, of 7 men. And we had 9 adult education graduates in 2024. So doing big things. I also yesterday signed and submitted the new federal per diem. That'll take place February 1st at $90 per day and a $35 transport reimbursement.
Good work. Good work.
Thank you.
Great. Any questions for Ashley or the sheriff?
Yes, Ashley, what does MRT stand for?
The moral reconnaissance therapy.
Okay. And this is before they get back?
It's a behavioral cognitive therapy. It's evidence-based. Obviously, it's working. It's a 12 to 16-week programming, depending on the individual. Our JCAP is profoundly, it's infused into our JCAP, but it's also available to other inmates, both males and females. And once they complete that, you'll see our pictures on social media and whatnot of our graduates.
Okay, yeah, it's great, thank
Yep.
you.
Outstanding. Anything else?
All good news. All
Good report, very good report, thank you.
On a cleanup note, we still have things that we need to finish as far as contracts.
We do.
The commissary contract's been open. It's been on old business since 2018. So I would love to be able to get something closed and done and move forward so that we don't have these things hanging out there in the wind. So I would appreciate that. And other than that, and that's like the graduations for JCAP, things like that. And for any of the council members, commissioners, you want to come in and see the classes, what they're being taught, things like that, please step in there. And, and I think it's something that it attests to the folks that we have at the sheriff's office and the great work that they do. But it's also, I guess in the recovery community, we work for that one. And then it leads to another, and it leads to another. And it's, the outreach. And I think that a lot of other groups in this community have added to that once these folks get out of our facility. And I think it pays dividends that we pay attention to it and that we maintain that. And, out of the 10 facilities in the state that have this program, I think that, it's something that should catch on in all 92 counties. So, but I can't say enough for the folks that, teach and the volunteers that come in, from puppy therapy to the ladies from the YWCA in Lafayette. And Ivy Tech has one of the instructors from Ivy Tech comes over and teaches a lot of classes. So, but it's one of those things that, I think there's an ability for us to do a lot more. And obviously, I'll tell you, we need that jail it needs replaced, and it has to be something in the future. Whether it's my term or the next sheriff in, whatever the case is, it's something that we have to start planning for. And and I don't think that it's something we can avoid anymore. So, but thank you for everything, and appreciate all the council's cooperation in all this. Thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you, Sheriff. Any other department heads need time with the council? Really? Nobody? Okay. Anybody else in general need any time with the council before we adjourn? All right. Well, seeing and hearing none, we'll call the meeting adjourned. We'll see you all in February.
Good.
There's something else. He made a comment about something.